This graph by the Pew Research Center, a nonpartisan fact-based company that focuses on providing information on social issues, explains by 40 years, Latino enrollment rate in post-secondary institutions has grown from a mere 4% in 1980 to 20% in 2020, a bigger increment than any other ethnic group. Additionally, this second graph furthers the importance of the situation because when compared to other students, Latinos overwhelmingly explain the need to support family at 71% and affordability at 69%, as the main reason they have not continued to enroll in more post-secondary institutions to obtain a bachelor's degree, which when put into terms mean if it were not for the daily obstacles obstructing Latino students, there would be a higher rate of enrollment. Both of these graphs share a common theme, perseverance. As explained by the College for Stimulus, Dark Side of Resilience by Thomas Premuzic and Derek Luss from Harvard Business Review, the psychological capacity to adapt to stressful circumstances to bounce back from adverse events. Hello, my name is Abdil Estrella, and I'm going to be focusing today on the topic of Latino perseverance. More specifically, on the question, has Latin culture taught perseverance more effectively than American culture? Moreover, it is safe to argue that Latin culture teaches perseverance more effectively than American culture because Latin culture has a root in their culture beliefs, they have persevered better through natural disasters, and they have endured social changes more successfully. In Latin culture, perseverance is rooted in the challenges that this community has faced historically and is emphasized through some aspects like hard work, determination, and communal assistance. A study done by Gallup, a global analytics and advice firm, showed that 72% of Latinos say that families are very important in their lives, compared to 59% of Americans, a difference of 11%. Additionally, a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, written by Shinobu Kitayama, a psychology professor at the University of Michigan, found that Americans were more likely to attribute their success to their own efforts rather than to external factors like social support or luck. The combination of both the graph and the statement show the psychological behavior exerted by Latinos when compared to Americans. Latin culture has a bigger emphasis on familiar support due to the culture beliefs that the community around you must always be connected to face any adversity. Additionally, the juxtaposition of both society is a perfect example of the phrase, two heads work better than one, because Latinos prioritize working together due to yielding better results, since people can motivate others to keep going when compared to facing situation as an individual. Furthermore, according to the report of the National Council of La Raza, the United States' largest nonprofit advocacy organization, Latinos have faced significant challenges through their history in the United States, including discrimination, poverty, and limited access to education and healthcare. However, even when facing these difficulties, they still persist. As demonstrated by this graph from the 2011 National Survey of Latinos, when compared to the general population, 75% of Latinos believe that all it takes to be successful in life is hard work and to combat any challenges, compared to only 58% of the general population. That is a 17% difference. Even when faced with discrimination, poverty, and limited access to education and healthcare, Latin Americans still exert resilience through hard work. In addition, the mixing of hard work with the rooted belief of familiar support allows for Latinos to continue the desired path even when obstacles might be present, as well as working more successfully as a community, which leads to my second claim. American communities have access to more resources and government support when it comes to preparing for and recovering from natural disasters compared to Latino communities. Nevertheless, Latinos have proven to respond more perseverant and through natural disasters. This graph by Property Claim Services depicts the most expensive hurricanes in mainland United States history, with Hurricane Katrina being the most expensive at $50 billion and Hurricane Andrew being the second most expensive at around $25 billion in property damage. However, this number seems diminutive when compared to Hurricane Maria. Hurricane Maria was the deadliest Atlantic hurricane since Mitch in 1998, and the 10th most intense Atlantic hurricane on record. According to NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Organization, total monetary loss was estimated to be upwards of $91.61 billion, mostly in Puerto Rico, ranking as the costliest tropical cyclone on record. To put this into perspective, that is the same as the damage accumulated with Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Andrew, and Hurricane Sandy. Sadly, this situation is amplified by the graph by Kaiser Family, a nonpartisan foundation that focuses on providing information on national health issues. We showed that 52% of the general public believes that the response to Hurricane Maria was low. When analyzed further, we can notice a clear bias when it comes to the response times. Within 4 days of Hurricane Katrina landing, there was $10 billion in aid package signed and 7,000 National Guards were sent to assess the situation. On the other hand, it took nearly 2 weeks after Hurricane Maria had landed for FEMA to authorize sending 1,000 federal staff to help with the disaster. Additionally, within a couple months of Hurricane Katrina, all the damage was restored. But it took exactly 328 days for Puerto Rico to get its electricity fully restored. It took over 2 years for the full cleanup of the island to be done. It is clear that the division of culture, even within the same country, causes a completely different response. Lastly, the multiple social changes endured by Latino community have prompted a stronger sense of perseverance within Latinos when compared to Americans. As one study published in the Journal of Social Issues said, Latino culture tends to be perseverance and persistence at the face of adversity. Throughout history, Latinos have faced a multitude of social challenges stemming from an economic crisis to an immigration crisis. Still, even after going through many difficult situations, Latinos have proven to adapt successfully and never lose their sense of identity. This graph by the Pew Research Center shows that 55% of Latinos view themselves about equally as successful as other ethnic, and around 70% view themselves as more successful. When we combine these two statistics, that is a whopping of 72% of Latinos viewing themselves equally or more successful than other ethnicities at the face of any social challenges. As stated previously, poverty, violence, and food insecurity are among the top reasons Latino families migrate. But even when having these social problems present, they persevere through them in many aspects, like having a familiar connection. For instance, this graph by the UN Statistical Division explains the main reason Latinos immigrate to the US was due to a search for better opportunities, with 89% of Latin Americans agreeing, and a better treatment of the poor, with 68% of Latin Americans agreeing. Nevertheless, they still view their culture as the main reasons for why they are successful. A majority of Latinos citing moral beliefs are better in their country of origin despite circumstances that might be present, and with 50% agreeing with the importance of family ties. As stated by the CDC, Hispanics come from a collectivistic culture. This means group activities are dominant, responsibility is shared, and accountability is collective. Because of the emphasis on collectivity, harmony and cooperation in the group tend to be emphasized more than individual function and responsibility. Consequently, this collectivistic culture has been highlighted through social changes, which eventually led Latinos to pass down and stress the importance of perseverance throughout generations. While some might argue that American culture teaches perseverance more successfully through the concept of American dream, and it's an example of American views on perseverance. In reality, American dream is an idea that any person could arrive to the United States and get and achieve their lifelong goals. This phrase helps develop the argument that the real perseverance is by those who immigrate to a country, leaving everything behind and continue fighting for a better future. In conclusion, after reviewing the presented evidence, it's clear to argue the fact that Latino culture has taught and continues to teach perseverance more effectively than American culture. This is mainly due to the fact that Latino culture has embedded into their primary beliefs. They have successfully recovered from natural disasters and social changes that have shaped their cultural beliefs. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
2 questions. First up, what evidence did you gather that you didn't use, and why didn't you use it?
I gathered evidence about the history of Latino communities, specifically history of the Venezuelan economic crisis, the Colombian guerrilla crisis, to try to see if those crises affected perseverance, but I didn't really decide to use it because it wasn't effective with my line of reasoning, and it would have caused my argument to stem from focusing on perseverance to more of the history of Latino perseverance.
Okay. And what advice would you have for other researchers who want to talk about this topic?
I would tell them to be very careful with causation versus correlation. More specifically, when talking about natural disasters and Hurricane Maria, there's a difference between a hurricane causing something and the correlation between an event and a hurricane.